Welcome into 13 Now on News Channel 13's YouTube channel. We've got our meteorologist, Christina Talamo, in our weather center, and meteorologist Reid Kisselback live at Fort Drum for us this morning, where UAlbany students are releasing weather balloons. That's in the path of totality. We'll get to Christina's forecast here in a little bit, as everybody, of course, is hoping to see as clear a sky as possible today. It may not be perfect conditions. All right, let's start with Reid out in Fort Drum here this morning on his birthday. Reid, hey man, great to have you here with us on 13 Now. This is a really cool thing that students are doing. I had no idea. You told us on News Channel 13 this morning between 5 and 7 a.m. that these weather balloons go as high as 100,000 feet collecting data.
Sometimes a little bit higher than that, Chris. It all depends on the conditions in the atmosphere. So if it's kind of calm, it goes right up there with very little interference. If the atmosphere is a little bit rough, which is not the case today, then it would pop a little bit earlier. And so you can't get all that as high of a atmospheric profile, but still pretty good for sure.
All right, so you are at Fort Drum because it's in the path of totality. It's just outside of Watertown for people who may not be super familiar. You drove up this morning. Students have been releasing balloons since yesterday, I understand.
2 p.m. yesterday.
What types of things are they collecting from those balloons?
So attached to every balloon is what they call a radiozone, and that measures a bunch of different variables in the atmosphere. So that includes pressure, temperature, relative humidity, gives us wind speed, gives us the direction that's blowing. It's incredibly useful information that, Christina can attest to this. This is stuff that gets kind of put into our weather models and gives us a better outlook and helps us improve the forecast because now we have a current look at the conditions. And weather services across the country do that to help improve our forecasts. So here today, they're doing this because NASA wants to see what exactly happens to the atmosphere leading up to, during, and right after the eclipse as well. So they started at 2 o'clock yesterday. They're going to be going until around 7 o'clock tonight, launching on the hour every hour, with the exception of during the eclipse. NASA is actually also here. Let's see if I got this view. So right over my shoulder here is actually NASA. They're going to be launching some drones with some cameras and also their own weather instruments. So their balloon data that UAlbany is launching actually gets to help them out with their forecasting for their drones as well. They get to figure out how high they can actually take the drone.
Okay, so when we hit eclipse time, Reid, what are we expecting there at Fort Drum?
It's going to be pretty active. One, we're going to have a lot more balloon launches going on, but two, things are going to get dark here. It's going to look more like sunset, eventually looking more so like night for 3 minutes, and I want to say 39 seconds for my location. I'm not 100% positive on that time. I got to go look at that. It's a little early in the morning for me. I got to still check on that time. But otherwise, we get totality here. I know in the Albany area, it's going to be more so the partial eclipse. And by partial, it's still at 95%. But it's a different view entirely from 100%. So looking forward to that part.
And I'm familiar with Fort Drum, but you're in this open field surrounded by a wooded area, obviously. I mean, look, for those 3+ minutes at 3:26 this afternoon, I don't know. I mean, maybe you'll experience some wildlife acting as if it is nighttime. Should be interesting.
I think that's the case. UAlbany's already said they've been encountering some wildlife, including some raccoons. That was their only issue that they've had so far. We were also told when we got here, do not stray from the field. There are black bears out here, so hopefully, or brown bears, whichever one it is. But regardless, I will be staying on this field or in my news car during this time, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Reid, good stuff, man. Really look forward to your reports all day long on News Channel 13. Our special coverage from 2 until 4 this afternoon, rolling right into our newscasts 4 until 6:30 this evening. So we have got you covered from start to finish of this total solar eclipse. Reid is at Fort Drum, just outside of Watertown in Jefferson County. Reid, thank you, buddy. Have a happy birthday. Enjoy the experience, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Reid up early with us on News Channel 13 today. Meteorologist Christina Talamo is with us every weekday morning on News Channel 13 today. Okay, Christina, you said earlier this morning, hey, this is the one day a year I said, no, it's the one day in a generation everybody cares about seeing a clear sky. How are things looking?
Yeah, it's a big day. If there was any day where we could just have full sunshine all day long. But unfortunately, I have to remind people, we don't pick the weather. We are just the messenger. So don't shoot the messenger today.
Yep.
But you
Yep.
kind of saw it in the background of Reid's live shot there, those wispy, high, thin clouds.
Mm.
That's what we're going to see later today. So you'll still see the sunshine, but it's more of just kind of just the glow of the sun. You don't really get to see it as defined as you probably would want during the eclipse.
By the way, can I quickly just do this because bad producing by me. I had this video queued up for Reid, but I was into the conversation. I forgot all about it. This is video from about 7 o'clock this morning of UAlbany students releasing one of those weather balloons. More have since been released, and there were previous balloons as well. But this was really cool for us to experience.
Yeah, it's really cool. And they launch these weather balloons at National Weather Service offices twice a day across the whole country, every single day. But when there's certain special weather events, they'll add an extra, even sometimes during the summer when we have a really bad severe weather day, they'll add a balloon launch and launch an extra balloon. And that's kind of what they're doing here, because the more balloons they launch, they can get more of this data, kind of as Reid was talking about. I actually used to launch the weather balloon with when I worked at the intern at the National Weather Service. So,
nice.
So it's fun. It's very cool. So we'll get some good information for that, and it's helpful for us too, because that data goes into making our weather model. So
love that.
Helps the forecasting aspect.
Okay, cool. Here's a live look outside though now for you.
Yeah, it looks good out there in Albany. 40 degrees on that CDPHP first warning weather cam. It will be a really nice day, but you can kind of see some high, thin clouds. Really, that's about it out there. Otherwise, the bright blue sky and the sunshine, we'll see some more of those high, thin, wispy clouds moving in later on this afternoon. And that might make the conditions for viewing the eclipse not as ideal as you would want, but it's not going to be terrible. It's better than it being raining and dealing with some really thick clouds across the area. So temperatures this morning are in the 30s and lower 40s. It's actually pretty comfortable out there right now. We've warmed up a great amount already, and we'll be in the lower to mid 60s this afternoon, around 64, 65 in the Albany area. So mild, above average, feeling quite nice later today. And then we will be talking about that eclipse, but of course we want the bright sunshine for it. Not going to be looking at clear skies, but it will still be a nice day. Here's a look at that satellite and radar. We got high pressure overhead. So clear skies, not much going on, but notice back towards Syracuse, seeing some of those clouds pushing in. And Reid was at Fort Drum, close to Watertown. You can see where those clouds are kind of streaming in to the area. We just saw that in the background of his live shot there. Showers even pushing over Lake Erie this morning, and then some thicker clouds in western New York, closer to Buffalo, Rochester, and that will be progressing eastward as we go throughout the day today. So this is why we'll introduce some clouds into the forecast this afternoon. Now, the difference here compared to where Reid is, path of totality versus not in the path of totality. It's just a partial eclipse, so it's not going to get completely dark. We'll see a light dim. It will look different, but it's not going to be a huge difference compared to what people would be seeing in that path of totality. We're at 96.6% when it comes to that maximum eclipse. Starts at 2:12 p.m. with the partial eclipse. Maximum eclipse, so if you're like, okay, when should I go outside and look at the eclipse with my glasses? 3:26, that's the time you want to be outside to take a look. About 97% of that sun will be blocked by the shadow of the moon. They're casting a shadow on the earth. And then that partial eclipse ends at 4:36 p.m. So takes a little over 2 hours for all to happen later today. So let's time out the cloud cover this afternoon. Notice again some of the high thin clouds already pushing over western and central New York, and that will progress eastward as we go throughout the morning. So noontime, some patchy high clouds around. Same story when the eclipse starts around 2:15 and at that peak or maximum eclipse at 3:30. Notice it's not widespread thick cloud cover for everyone, but we will have those patchy high thin clouds. So that thin veil of cloud cover will kind of filter the sunshine. So you'll still get to see the eclipse, but it might not be as good or as ideal as we would want it to be for today. But We'll take it. This is through 5 p.m. And then we'll even see some spotty showers off to our west as we go through tonight. So high temperatures today, really a nice day, lower to mid 60s, mostly sunny to start, but then some more clouds this afternoon. Tonight we drop down into the lower 40s, partly cloudy and mild. And then we're tracking some showers on the way by midweek and into the weekend. Tuesday, best day of the week with a high of 70 degrees. A few leftover showers on Saturday, dry on Sunday, mix of sun and clouds with a high of 60 degrees. So after the next 2 days, we'll see some decent rain chances returning. Again, this time of the year, especially where we were last week with the snow. I'll say we'll take what we can get today with just a few high, thin clouds. Could be snowing if it was last week. So definitely could be worse.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the overnight lows don't look so bad as we move into this week, deeper on into this week anyway. All right, Christina, thank you. I know Christina will have the latest on the forecast coming up on News Channel 13 live at noon. Our thanks to her. Our thanks to Reid for jumping on as well live from Fort Drum. He will bring us day-long coverage of the solar eclipse in the path of totality up there in the North Country. Thanks for watching 13 Now, everyone. Again, our coverage on News Channel 13 is all day long. So we have the noon newscast, of course, and then starting at 2 o'clock this afternoon, special coverage on News Channel 13 up until 4 o'clock, when, of course, we bring you the regularly scheduled newscast that we do every weekday at 4 p.m. Rachel Teedy is in Lake Placid. Juanique Martinez will be in Lake George. We have Stella Porter and Tessa Bentulin also at Siena and in Albany. So we are covered wall to wall with the eclipse today. Hope you enjoy it all, everybody. Be safe out there. Enjoy the Monday. I'm Chris Honorato.